So yesterday on Twitter, or was it late last night? I got in this whole conversation with a friend that lasted into about 4 hours last night. One of the good things about having a week off and doing things. But I was talking on Twitter, and you know how you talk to yourself on Twitter, which is what everybody does. And the conversation in my head through talking to some other people about, how Spider-Man would actually technically have been in public domain by now, and whether I believe in stuff being in public domain. I need a sip of coffee. And the easiest way for me to answer that question, whether something should be in the public domain, is to basically say, no, I don't believe in that. I think a company, when it makes a deal with a creator, whether you're work for hire or whatever, that's the deal it's made. And I don't think they should have that until eternity. But once that contract runs out, whatever it is, with the creator, and yes, those type contracts should be able to be renewed or whatever. I think there should be a limit at the contracts when it comes to work for hire work, when it comes to ownership of like properties and copyrights and such. So I think companies, sorry, the light in here, the sun outside is being fussy with me right now, but I think there should be a limit on how long they are. So like, let's say if I work for a company and I develop a patent for them, I don't think they should have that patent for life, because I don't work for them for life and they're not paying me for life for it. So unless there's some kind of deal where there's like a co-ownership thing, I think it should revert back after so long to the creators of the property. So like with Spider-Man, where it was supposed to be in the public domain around right now, well, Disney went, if you don't know, Disney went and paid off people in the government, as happens with big business, to extend those copyright laws. They did that because of all their properties, like Mickey Mouse, would be in copyright a long time ago. They do this like 2 or 3 times, I think, with the government. So what happens is, because they did that, it extended it. I think what should happen is, after so long, the property should revert back to the creators or their families. I don't believe in specific public domain works. I think a property is owned by somebody. So like, if I create something for a company, I think they should own it for so long and then it revert back to me or my family years from now. And I know a lot of people don't like it, but I think most of the people who don't like it are people who don't create stuff. I don't think stuff should be in a public domain. Somebody has that property. Nobody, it's either a company that you worked for or a creator worked for that got the property as a part of an agreement, or it's the creators themselves. And like I said, I think it should, after a time, it should revert back to the creators or their families to have. And maybe something like, if there is no family line, direct family line, then it would become public domain. But I don't think just like, a certain amount of time, 100 years or whatever, a property should belong to the public. Why should you be able to use something that I created and I might be dead and long gone from it, but why can't my family have a benefit from it? Why does it have to be only a public thing? I think the whole public domain issue in a modern sense goes back to the whole issue of like people owning like books, or owning that, like the fans having some owners. And as we all know, like the whole fans having ownership of properties and works is not a good thing. It has caused more bullshit and like fan entitlement than just about anything out there. Even though a lot of that bullshit and fan entitlement is like steered through sexism and racism, a lot of it's like, it's bullcrap. Okay, the only people that thinks nothing should copyright it and you should be able to download stuff unlimited and stuff like that, and piracy is perfectly fine, are usually people that never had put in the hours to work on something and then have people rip it off. Because here's the thing I bring up to tons of people who think it's alright to pirate stuff and it's not a big deal. That's only sticking it to the man, so to speak. You know who has found their works on pirated sites? This guy. You know Mr. Nobody, who hardly has anybody look at his videos and download his stuff and all this other crap? I've had my stuff on there, and I've seen where people have made money off my stuff on some stuff, selling it too. A couple of years ago, I seen where somebody was selling my stuff, and they on their stats they'd had where they'd made like $600 from a book that I'd never made freaking $600 from. So if you think you're just sticking it to the man in those aspects, like, you're infuriating. But getting back and getting off a rant on piracy, that's for another video, another day. I do think there should be copyright laws when it comes to expiration dates, but I don't think they should go into public domain. I think it's either the company who owns it or its creators owns it, and I think after a time it should revert back to creators and their families. The fact that so many people besides the creators are making a fortune off of stuff like Spider-Man and other works, which, by the way, don't take me as the worst person ever, because I enjoyed meeting him and enjoyed his works a lot. But people who put Stan Lee up to this great milestone of a person when it comes to defending creator rights, it's not true, really. So Stan Lee created so much in the Marvel Universe, but so did all those artists and other people he worked with, and they should be good credit too. And the fact that Stan became this image of Marvel and this image of comics was a totally different thing. That became like a character and a symbol of comics, and a goodwill symbol of comics in a lot of ways. But we all have to look at the gist of how this little twisted little game we play as fans when it comes to ownership of works only harms creators. It doesn't harm companies. It doesn't harm big business. It doesn't harm anybody but creators. So while you're being played this game by Disney and Sony of being like, oh, are you Disney or are you Sony in this game? Let's think about the people who had to fight and had to have other people fight just to have their names on some of these movies. And think about that before you get all butt hurt of whether Spider-Man's going to be in Avengers movies from now on, or the Marvel Universe. Because we have to take a step back from that as fans, and I have to too. I'm psyched about X-Men movies being in the greater Marvel Universe. I was so excited when Spider-Man appeared in the Marvel Universe. But let's not forget that, as with the country that I live in and a lot of you live in, was built on the backs of people who never got to benefit from any parts of the country. This cinematic universe and these books were built on the backs of people who never even had name recognition for their works. So instead of saying stuff should be in a public domain, let's change that conversation to be in a conversation of that stuff should be in creator domain. That they should be for creators to know what they want to do with it. And there should be a from corporate to public, let's take it back to creators. Like, you don't need it. Let's put it in the hands of people that know what they're doing with it. Oh, and for anybody that's wondering how the office cleanup's going, let's see. That's some of my stuff. There's a whole lot more to go. I gotta clean up this whole area over here. There's a lot to be done, even to the point where I don't want to show it right now. I got a lot more work to do. I got a lot of videos to record today. Hill versus Mountain card and everything else. And as usual, check out 10euros.blogspot.com for all our updates and everything else. And I hope people are having a good week. And it's kind of shitty out there right now with a lot of stuff going on, but create. If it's all you can do, if you're a painter or artist or whatever, it's sometimes all we can do. So make.